Ja, but in Denmark, he is called a juleman. Hey y'all, welcome back to Robetronic. As you know, we're doing Vlogmas, and today is Vlogmas Day 8, where we're going to be talking to you about how to convert your American Christmas into a Danish Jul, and back and forth if you want to.
Yeah, and welcome back if you've been watching us all the way through Vlogmas. But if you're new, to introduce ourselves, I'm Mike, and they call me Mr. Fahrenheit.
And my name is Derek, and I wear either a size 13 or size 46 shoe. Let's get started.
So, to start out, let's talk about the big guy himself. In America, we call him Santa Claus. He lives at the North Pole with his lovely wife, Mrs. Claus, and has all kinds of elves that help to build all the toys that Santa and his 8 reindeer take around all the globe to give kids their toys on Christmas Day.
Nej, Mike. Han hedder juleman, og han bor I Grønland.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so, excuse my terrible Danish, I know you're going to comment on that. But in Denmark, as we all know, Santa Claus is actually called Juleman, and he lives in Greenland, not the North Pole, although it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on the elves, because those are a bit different too. So there is the julenisse, or the Christmas elf, as they would say in Denmark, and they're not quite as historically friendly and jolly as the American interpretation of Christmas elves. So Nisser were taken out of Norse mythology and Norse folklore. Nisser lived all over in gardens, forests, farms, in people's houses, and they were a bit more mischievous. So probably a bit more like in America, what kids play, or the tradition that's pretty recent of Elf on the Shelf.
The Elf on the Shelf kind of looks like more of a Nisser. He's got the pointy hat, and the tradition now is, which honestly wasn't there when we were kids. It's only not even 20 years old, I guess.
Yeah.
But now for our nephews, like Elf on the Shelf, his name is Max, keeps track on what they do, and they get little presents all through the Christmas season. Kind of honestly like the Christmas calendars that are very common here in Denmark.
Yeah, or a packet calendar, like the Christmas gift calendar, because usually what will happen is Max, or the Elf on the Shelf that lives at my brother's house, will come and visit and kind of watch the kids all year to make sure they're being good, and then in December he gets active and comes to visit, but they can't touch him, and what he does every night is leaves them little gifts and plays little pranks, and then he's frozen there the next morning. So it's a kind of a combination. I think that the Nisser in Denmark is probably a bit more like the Elf on the Shelf. A little bit mysterious, can be good or bad, play pranks on the kids, leave them gifts.
It's a good trade-off. We gave Denmark Halloween, and Denmark kind of gave us the inspiration for Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah.
So enough about the people of Christmas. Let's talk about the lights of Christmas. In Denmark, it's going to come mostly in one way: candles. Candles everywhere. I mean, this is a candle country anyways, but at Christmas time, the candles really come out. You have the Advent candles, which you're going to light every single Sunday during the Advent season, though in truth we had that in the US as well. You're going to have your Christmas candle, which is going to burn all the way from the 1st to 25th. You're going to have other candles that sit around the house all the time, and then most importantly, in a city that's burned probably a dozen times, you're going to take live candles and put them on a dead tree while everyone drunkenly dances around on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the American candles are, just like Americans, it's a bit more subdued, a bit more laid back, not as loud or dangerous. Just kidding. The American candles are usually electric, and you put them in the window. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they have a bit of a religious significance too, because I think it marked that there's room at the inn or something like that. I think that's where the tradition comes from. At least that's what I was told when I was a kid.
I didn't know. I just knew we had them in the window, and it was either mine or my brother's job to go around and plug all them in when it got dark.
And you turn them on every night by hand. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So electric candles or almost burning down your house, two ways that you can celebrate Christmas with candles. Okay, now let's talk about the dates, because they're a bit different if you're going to convert your Christmas from an American Christmas to a Danish Jul, or from a Danish Jul back to an American Christmas. You need to know the dates so that you show up on time. That's important in Denmark. As a lot of people do know, the beginning of the Christmas season in America would start with Thanksgiving on the last Thursday in November. But the Danish Christmas season, I think you could say, unofficially starts on the first Friday in December. So it gives you a longer season, even though some of the other dates you're going to push forward by one day.
That's right. And as you get into December, Denmark has a few more dates and events that go on. One of the really fun ones is going to be Santa Lucia on the 13th of December, which is a festival of lights. Look for a fun video on that coming up later in Vlogmas. Also, the dates are a little bit different in Denmark. The main day for Christmas is going to be on the 24th, whereas in the US, it's the 25th. And it's also going to be more events on the 23rd. So even before Christmas starts, you have a chance to get together and have some rice pudding, we've heard. I've never had it.
Yeah, so that would be considered Juleaften on the 23rd, which is basically when, and Danes help us out if we're getting any of this wrong, but I believe the tradition would be that you're kind of celebrating Christmas preparations being over. So you would get together with family, maybe that's when you would have some schnapps, bake some cakes, do all the fun things that you do at the end as like finishing touches before Christmas. A lot of people have told us that they also decorate their tree on that day. So again, it's kind of just like that calm way to celebrate and get everybody together, because all of the hectic parts of getting preparations for Christmas are now finished.
Yeah, in the U.S., we probably do that more on Christmas Eve. I think historically, with my family, we
Meaning the 24th.
Meaning the 24th, excuse me. Yeah, so we'd be normally going over to a family or a friend's house, and you'd have a few drinks, maybe a much more light, more like appetizers or some food spread out there. Much more informal affair, kind of to prepare for it. Some people would leave early and go to church on the night before, or they'd go to midnight mass. That was a big one in my family, was going to midnight mass. So there's kind of an analog in there, similar thing. Though I will say in some parts of the U.S. you'll find that the Christmas Eve can be a huge celebration. Part of my family that's Italian, they do the classic 7 fishes, and it is a raucous affair. It's a lot of fun to go to.
Yeah, I guess the main difference would be that in Denmark, pretty much everybody does it the same way. In America, people are going to do things differently. But generally, Denmark will be one day ahead of the Christmas calendar than Americans. Now, on the 24th in Denmark is when you would get together, and that's when you would dance around the tree, hopefully safely, and open your presents, of course. I think Danes would agree that you would never open your presents in the morning. You would always open them at night on the 24th.
Yeah, and it's normal in the U.S. to have your presents open on the morning of the 25th. Maybe some families do some present exchanges on the 24th, but the normal thing is on Christmas Eve, you go to bed and Santa comes overnight, and then you wake up and you have all the presents underneath the tree at that time. So a little bit of a difference in how we operate in the U.S. that way.
Yeah, and in Denmark, you would start on the 24th because traditionally at sunset is when the next day would start. So really, that would be the passing from one day to the next. It's not, in those times it wasn't quite the concept of midnight beginning the next day. So the 24th would be when Christmas would begin at sundown.
Honestly, kind of smart here in Denmark with the sun setting at like 3:30 in the afternoon. It means you get an even longer celebration. Yeah. So well done.
Open those gifts. Okay, now let's talk about how we actually celebrate. So, of course, gifts were mentioned. But again, one main difference in converting from an American Christmas to a Danish Jul, or from a Danish Jul back to an American Christmas, is that Christmas in Denmark, the focus is going to be on celebrating with your family. The main things you're going to go to are going to be events with your family. Whereas in America, a lot of people are going to celebrate around the religious observation, and that's going to include going to church. Some Danes may go to church as well, but they're probably more of a minority because Denmark's a bit more secular than the US. Now, another big way to celebrate is with Christmas specials, and there's a few things that are kind of opposites from the American Christmas to the Danish Jul. And the first is, in Denmark, there is the julekalender, which is a special that airs on one of the 2 major networks in the country, and each year they take turns producing a 24-part series where an episode comes out every night.
But if there's one parallel to the Yule calendar that we have in the US, it might be all the various Hallmark special movies that come out at Christmas time.
Yes.
Demographic is a little bit different. Yule calendar is more geared towards kids, while the Hallmark movies tend to be more towards middle-aged women.
And on Christmas Day, everybody in Denmark will watch the traditional Danish Disney cartoons for Christmas that come and are aired every year on Christmas Day.
In the US, you're going to find it's a little bit more scattershot, but there are a ton of Christmas specials. A lot of them dating back actually to when our parents were kids. So you're looking at things like a Charlie Brown Christmas. You're looking at some of the other classics like the claymation Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas animation. A lot of these are just really fun animated ones that have been around for many, many years at this point and just absolute parts of the American Christmas canon. There's some newer ones that have come out along the way as well, but those classic ones out there, I mean, they are absolute standards.
Now, both countries have a gift exchange game, and in America, it's typically something that we call a white elephant, and in Denmark, it's, I'm not going to pronounce it very well, but pakkelej. Now, in the American version, everybody goes and picks a gift, and you can take a gift from somebody else, or you can keep the gift that you unwrapped. But everybody is left with one gift at the end, and some may be better than others, but nobody goes without. It's Christmas socialism for the Americans. Now, the Danish version is literally by the roll of the dice. They allow you to steal gifts and hoard piles of gifts, and at the end, you may be left with no gifts at all. But in Denmark, we think that the people who have no gifts at all just didn't work hard enough. It's a free market Christmas here in Denmark.
So while playing games has become a little bit of a political allegory here, we can say there's also differences in how the days are treated as holidays. In Denmark, things are going to be completely closed for Christmas. You'll find shops are closed from the afternoon of the 24th and all day on the 25th and 26th. Whereas in the US, you'll see some shops are open all the way through the holiday. So there's a little bit of a difference in how it's treated, where some businesses in the US will remain open all the way through and make some of their workers come in, maybe for double time or time and a half.
Now, surely we didn't get everything, so if there's something that we left out of either the Danish Christmas traditions or the American Christmas traditions, let us know in the comments, especially if there's something cool and unique that you do with you and your family. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed Vlogmas Day 8. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subscribed and click the bell for notifications so that you get all of our Vlogmas videos as soon as they're uploaded every day leading up to Christmas.
Thanks for watching, guys. Glad
you.